Welcome everybody to our Tips for Contactless Service Shop-Ware webinar. Very excited to be with you. As many of you know, Shop-Ware has been very proactive, pushing information and new features out to assist shops during this time. And we're really excited to be able to connect with you directly on this webinar today. This is our first go with Zoom conferencing. So you should be able to ask questions in the Q&A channel. So if you want to drop questions in there, I am joined by Roxanne Dosh and Margot Wampler and Monique Mondragon. We should also have Jesse from 360 Payments with us. Very excited to have 360 on the line as well. And we'll do our best to answer questions towards the end of the session. Well, without further ado, why don't we go ahead and get started? So I'm broadcasting live from my repair shop in San Francisco. I've got some PPE here. I started with some masks. I was going to make a joke starting the meeting from with my mask on, but I realized it was interfering with my headset, so I had to take it off. But you know, no germs on Zoom, for which we're eternally grateful. So super excited to have you here with us. I'm going to go ahead and take these gloves off to run this presentation. So we're going to do a 30-minute power session. So the goal is to make this super useful, as insightful as possible, and get you back into the shop, making some money. Obviously, there's been a ton of webinar content on contactless and what to do during COVID times and so on. And so we're not going to try and reinvent the wheel here. Specifically, what we're going to talk about is this concept of the new normal and what that looks like in multiple ways that are affecting your business, some that you might have thought of, not have thought of, and some that you probably have, but just to sort of put that out there for all the different folks that are here on this meeting. We're definitely going to go and do a Shop-Ware demo demonstrating not only our new feature, Remote Pay, that allows you to gather customer payments entirely through the application, but also the pre-approval process, and of course work order share, just to demonstrate that you really can go tip to tail without having to interact physically with your customer. And then last but not least, we're going to take some tips from some shop owners. So without further ado, let's get started. So the new normal, it's crazy seeing people in masks. Obviously, we tend to be very social creatures, but also shop owners are inherently very caring, very connected people. And so having to socially distance and seeing people in masks can be very disorienting. Ultimately, whatever decisions you need to make for your own business will be unique and reflective of your unique business, because every single shop is different and there is no right answer right now. You're going to have to make your own decisions about what you need to do for your business. That also reflects how you're going to obviously respond to being open, or how you market to your customers right now. We have customers that have, shop owners that have paused their services. We have shop owners who have ramped down, myself included. We went to emergency repairs in April, and now we're back open for regular booking in May. And I'll talk a little bit about that and what we've seen in a little bit. And then we have folks that have just gone full force, that have been marketing and have been extraordinarily busy. So everybody's a little bit different. Everyone's handling it themselves, and that's totally fine. What we are certainly seeing, which is really optimistic, is a trend towards higher average ticket. So when customers bring their car in, they want to get everything dealt with. They don't want to have to come back. They're very safety minded. And this is excellent, right? Because you're able to get more done on that car with less, resistance or otherwise budgeting from your customers. People are very focused on private vehicle ownership right now, because they don't want to do car shares. They want to make sure that they're in their own spaces, and being able to maintain those spaces and align yourself with helping those people maintain their own spaces is very advantageous. Of course, we are challenged having to strike a balance between being both helpful at a distance and also very friendly and caring, but also serious about the situation. As shop owners, we're obviously dealing with the disruption to our business. We're thinking a lot about, when things are going to reopen. Maybe you're dealing with PPP and some of this other stuff that's running around, and it's crazy. It's changing on a daily basis. But you never know what your customers are dealing with, where they're coming from, what their attitude is. And so you want to be empathetic, you want to be professional, and certainly you want to take things seriously. one of the key ways to take the situation seriously is to lead. You need to demonstrate confidence. You need to demonstrate, set expectations to your customers. So that is being able to tell them how you're going to have contactless transactions, how your services are fully transparent, so they understand not only what are you doing on the car, but how is the exchange going to go, right? So like transparency about the safety measures that you're taking, sterilization practices, you know, where they should drop off the car, where they should pick up their car. The more transparent and forthcoming you can be about that stuff, the more that that's reassuring to them. It shows to them that you are thinking about this and you're handling it, and that reassures them and gives them a sense of safety. Of course, in all of these cases, you want to have a process to follow in all ways so that there's no deviance. And then your staff, your customers all know what to follow. So establishing those processes and communicating those processes are key. Let's get into contactless, because I think that's why most people are here. So I have got an example work order here teed up, and I'm going to go ahead and walk you through it. So here we have an estimate on Shop-Ware. We've got myself standing as a customer, and we've got a 2005 Toyota Prius. This car is coming in for a safety inspection. I've added some notes here about this car going on a road trip as soon as the lockdown is over. So they want to get prepared. So we've got a safety inspection teed up. We also have a checklist here that is a COVID sensitivity checklist. This is something that you may choose to want to use to just, again, highlight to your customers what specifically you are doing in the course of business. Never hurts to be more communicative on this. And with Shop-Ware, there's a very simple mechanism to build this into a canned job and to make sure that your technicians are checking this off every single time. So in this case, I have prepared this estimate in advance, and I'm going to show you how the customer can go about pre-approving this in advance. So some folks may or may not be doing this. For those folks who aren't, this is sort of your demonstration on how to do this. So you are able to share the repair order with your customer when it is an estimate, when it is a work order, or when it is an invoice. And so when it is an estimate, that's when you're trying to gather pre-approvals. So I'm going to go ahead and click share. I have a choice how I can do it. I can email, I can text, or I can just, share it through another method. I'm going to go ahead and do that here so that I can just share it right here on my screen. So I'm going to open an incognito window and go ahead and drop that in. And then I'm going to open this on a phone size screen so you can see what it looks like to your customer. So your customer is going to go ahead and follow that link, and they're going to see what they always see when they come to the repair order. They're going to see a greeting. They have an ability to see whatever notes and write their own notes. They can see the details of what is being estimated. And then you'll see at the very bottom of the ticket, they have a large green button that says Approve Estimate. When they click this button, this is the workflow that they can follow to pre-approve. So they get a summary of what is included on the ticket. They see your terms of service as usual, and then they see a great big checklist down here on the bottom, and they cannot click this checkbox until, they cannot click approve until they click this checkbox. So this is how you're going to go about making sure your customer has clearly understood what is included, what the total is going to be, what the terms of service are. And what's important about that is they have now, scrolled through the ticket. They have seen all of the details that are going to be included, and getting to this point, so everything's very clear. So when I go ahead,
Carolyn, may I interrupt?
Sure.
We are not seeing your customer screen.
Oh, I see.
We're just seeing your customer as the service advisor screen.
Oh, great. Well, then let me stop and let me share. Can you see this now? Yes. Okay, great. Let's start over. So I already pre-approved this. So I'm going to go ahead and change this slightly so it clears this pre-approval. Okay, great. And then I'm going to reshare this job with this customer, right? So the pre-approval does not show. So again, you're able to share anytime. I'll share as an estimate here. I'm going to open this in a new window, and then Monique, you holler if you can't see this.
Yes, ma'am.
Looking good? Still with me? Great.
Looks great.
So this is what the customer sees: a greeting, any notes if they want to write their own notes. So if you want to have a conversation about what the estimate entails before they pre-approve, you can do that right here through the application. They're able to scroll down through the services that they're going to have performed in advance of dropping off the car, so they can see the safety inspection in this case, this COVID checklist. And then at the very bottom of the ticket, they see the grand total and then a large button to approve the estimate. So they'll have to have scrolled through the ticket to see all the things that are going to be included before they get to that approval. In that approval workflow, they then see a summary of what the grand total is going to be. They once again have to scroll through their terms of service, and then they have this big checkbox here at the bottom to click I approve, and then they can proceed to confirming their pre-approval. When that happens, that is going to update the repair order to be pre-approved, so you can see that here. And when I refresh this page, on the staff side, you're going to see that pre-approval also. So when that customer walks in the door and you check them in, you will be able to see, or in this case, they drop off the car outside of the shop and drop off their keys. You'll see that that ticket is pre-approved already. And then when you go to start the job, there's nothing that you have to collect from them. You don't have to have them sign. You don't have to do any of that. So this is the contactless workflow prior to starting the job. I'm going to go ahead and start now. In this case, I'm going to say this person is going to be text. Go ahead and start this ticket. So this is the portion of the job that, you know, Shop-Ware facilitates as a share that most people are very familiar with. As a technician, I get to, you know, fill out the checklist. So I've got a couple of things here that I'm going to recommend. And then obviously, if I'm doing my COVID workflow, I have the ability to say I'm sterilizing the handles, I'm sterilizing the interior, I'm turning off the climate control, keeping the windows down, and I'm donning PPE. So in both of these cases, I'm able to complete this and then make whatever notes I want to make. So let's see what we can do. Replacements. So I'm going to go ahead and throw some pictures on here. So in this case, this is an example of me adding notes to the ticket as a technician. And then you're able to add your recommendations. So I can publish these as the technician and then add my recommendations as the service advisor. So I will add a recommendation for tires. I'm going to do 2 tires. And I'm going to add the tires that I'm stocking. So I'm stocking these Defenders right now. So I'll throw 2 of those on here. So that's my tire replacement. And then I'm going to throw my axle seal on here. So in this case, we've got 2 repairs on this Prius. In this case, I've got some bald tires, and then I've got an axle seal that's leaking. So as an example, you can kind of see how this media and these checklist items come together. Once again, via the application, I'm able to share the job, whichever contact method they prefer. If it's email, if it's text, if it's another communication that you're using, you can copy the link. In this case, I'm just going to copy the link and open it here for you to see. And once again, Monique will let me know if you can't see it. Good?
We're good. Mm-hmm.
Thanks,
Yep,
Monique. So again, right now we're in a work order stage. So I'm giving the customer updates as to what has changed since they first dropped off the car. So once again, a greeting, They see there are going to be some additional recommendations that they need. They can view the notes. They can see the details. They can also review what the recommendations are through the notes, so either through the notes or directly on the page. I can approve this work. That's going to give me a notification back into the shop that the customer has viewed this repair order. And then when I'm at my repair order on the staff side of things, I can promote these services and keep on going. So all of this has happened entirely remotely by them visiting the repair order on their own device. At this point, we have completion for my tires, completion of my repairs. If I want to add additional notes, that's fine. At this point, I'm ready to close the job and accept payment. So I will assign this. Don't need an odometer. Repair. Close. So when the repair order becomes an invoice and there is a balance due, at that point, you're able to take money through remote pay. So once again, if I'm sharing this job with the customer, and I'm gonna, once again, open it in another window so you can see, in this case, this is an invoice and it has a balance due, in this case, $904. Go ahead and open that and see what the customer can see. Now, in this case, you're able to share this with them as through a text message. So if you want to text them the link, they can come to this repair order. If they have an email, that's their preference. You can email them this link. In both of those cases, that's included in your normal subscription for Shop-Ware. And this is an example of what this looks like on a desktop view. So if they're using their PC, they can see the entire repair order. At the bottom of the job, they have a checkout button, very prominent. If it is a smaller screen, that checkout button will be what's called sticky, just here at the bottom. So right when they land on the page, they will be able to see, aha, I can check out here. Now I want to kind of show you what those both look like. So when I click checkout, I am taken to this remote pay page. So this is where I can, fill out my details. I can add my card number. It does support autofill, so you're able to use whatever you've gotten already saved on your device. Looks like I didn't save that all the way. And so it's very common, familiar e-commerce workflow. And then I'm able to submit payment. On a smaller screen, it looks like this. So similar, totally mobile friendly. So folks are able to navigate through this. In this case, I'm gonna have to pick California. And then I can submit. This is gonna process my payment through the 360 Payments gateway. So this is facilitated through 360. If you're on a desktop, you get a larger success page, as well as a notification that you've successfully paid and a link to return back to the repair order. And if you're on a mobile device, you also see that information and a link to return back to the homepage. So in both of these cases, whether it's on desktop or on a mobile screen, the workflow of the customer paying for their bill is happening completely seamlessly from within the repair order. So they get to see all of the detail of what you originally did to the car, what you inspected, what you then recommended, and then what you sold in the same place that they are being asked to provide their payment. And that is very important to you, not only in being able to showcase your value and have that extra transparency, but it makes you look very sophisticated. You're not sending kind of a separate request for payment that's disconnected from why they're paying you. So at Shop-Ware, we're very, very passionate about this being the workflow that's best in terms of providing value to your customers and really emphasizing, your reputation. So this is the remote pay workflow. This is the end of the contactless exchange through Shop-Ware to customers. I'm going to get back to our presentation and show you some other tips, and then we'll go into some questions. So in terms of what people are doing inside of their businesses, independent of using Shop-Ware. This is some imagery from my own shop. Right now, we are obviously open for business, but we're being very deliberate about making sure customers understand what the terms of that visits are going to be. So we have a chain across the door so that people are not driving in. We have some standard issue signage around wearing masks, and then or other PPE, and then we have some fun signs that we created that are like, hello, please turn off your air conditioning, please roll down your windows, please leave the keys inside of the car. And then we're going to have all of the exchange already established with pre-approvals in advance. So we're really just saying, hey, great, nice to see you, customer. We'll let you know when we've got updates or when the car is finished. Also, our waiting room is closed, and you can see that we've got a waiting room sign. I want to show you some other shops and what they're doing and their approaches. So this is from Scott Brown in Claremont, California, his shop, Connie and Dick's. They ended up moving their reception out from their normal office out into the shop. And what's interesting here is they've got you can kind of see where Scott is standing. He's actually walking towards this open service bay, and they've got a little pop-up tent going there. So they've set up like a pop-up tent reception essentially through their parking lot into their first service bay so that it's totally spacious. And then they've set up a very large television. This is running on Apple TV. You can also use Chromecast or anything, or HDMI cord to a laptop in order to essentially broadcast the repair order that the customer is going to be either agreeing to or coming back to pick up at a distance. So super high value, super high tech exchange here. And obviously Scott's daughter is here, and she's donning her own gloves, and she's got sterilizer and stuff like that. The one other thing I wanted to mention about this before I moved on. So Scott's done a video on this for his Facebook, and what's critical about that is not only what you're doing once the customer already arrives, is again setting those expectations about what the customer can expect before they bring the car in. So in this case, he's made some media to help customers understand, hey, this is what the exchange is going to be like when you come to our shop, and then he's promoting that through his social media. This is super, super valuable. You can reuse, whether it's on your website, whether it's in your communications to your customers before they drop off. You can drop those links to those videos, that information in. And again, that makes that customer that much more relaxed, understanding, hey, these people are looking out for me, and B, I know what to expect before I get there. This is another example of one of our customers. This is Anthony Lucido from Co-Auto in Reno, Nevada. So he put together a video also. He was very, very quick at this. He's handling pickups and drop-offs. You can kind of see how he's showcasing that over here on the left. Where you'll go to get the car and pick up the key out of the mailbox, and you don't even have to drive your car to the shop. He also provides a key drop at the shop. So if you want to bring your car and leave your keys, again, you can pre-approve via Shop-Ware, and then once the car is there, the shop can take it in, and they have gloves, sanitizer, all that stuff that they're again messaging and showing in their communications to customers. Again, this is something where you might talk to your customers and say, hey, we're doing this, but when you actually take pictures of it and you show it to your customers, they can really understand that this is happening. And then when they get back in their car, they can visualize, okay, these people have cleaned this car and I feel more comfortable again. So it's not just about saying it, but also being able to show it. And Co-Auto is doing a great job. Here's Tools Garage in San Carlos. Again, they've got a very large banner on their website, as do most of these shops. Putting a big banner on your site or on your social, understanding that you're here, you're open, and what effort you're taking are really, really important. So here is a dedicated page where he's got videos specific to what's going to happen when you drop off your car and other action plan items. So media content created by tools, and then he's also doing giveaways. He's doing bags with masks and sanitizer once he's finished with the car. So a really nice extra touch for customers when they come and get the car, even if they didn't have a chance to interact with you directly, they get something fun left behind. And in this case, this is evidently a brewery. It's Devil's Canyon Brewery that stopped making beer and started making sanitizer starting, I guess, in March. And if you want to get some of your own sanitizer to put in some grab bags, I guess that's a great place to get them. Thanks, Dave, for that recommendation. So again, each shop you can see is doing it a little bit differently. In all cases, they're being very forthcoming with their messaging to the customer. And in all cases, they're running Shop-Ware and being able to provide a contactless experience. So just kind of a review of shop prep. Obviously, you want to designate how you're going to distance with your customers. You want to sanitize any surfaces. You want to don PPE, wear masks, and wear gloves. And then furthermore, not only are you doing those things, right? Because obviously we're pretty familiar with this stuff at this point. The real key is being able to get that message to your customer. So again, get it on the website, get it on your social, put it into your appointment instructions. So when you're sending appointment confirmations and reminders, put that information in there so they know, okay, this is how this is going to go. I've already pre-approved. Now I know where I'm going to park my car. This is how the shop is going to handle it. And all that, again, reassures people to know what they're going to expect. And then last but not least, putting some signage on your premises. Again, for us that we might feel like, oh, I wish that it wasn't happening this way. This is an inconvenience. I don't want to stress my customers out. Quite the opposite. The more forthcoming you're about with this stuff, the better off you're going to be and the better they're going to feel. And they're going to know not only is this how I'm being treated, but this is how all of the customers are being treated. And that makes me feel less concerned about exposure. As mentioned, I think gift bags or follow-ups are really, really key to be able to emphasize your care and that connection when you don't have as much physical connection with the customer. Takeaways on a high level, leadership, being outspoken, and then understanding that customers are very safety conscious right now, and that's entirely where we are positioned. So it's a totally appropriate message to say, I'm here to help you. It can be awkward to be talking about sales at a time like this, but ultimately people are looking for your help. And being able to be forthcoming and transparent is going to really put you in tune with what they're thinking about. Last but not least, I wanted to drop this in terms of opportunity. As things have been ramped down, it can oftentimes feel disconcerting about when the hell we're going to get back to sort of full steam and how we're going to be more profitable. And especially for folks that have decided that they need to close for a while, that's obviously incredibly stressful. At our shop, we decided to narrow to emergency repairs for the month of April. And what we ended up seeing is that while we had about 25% of our car count, our normal car count, our average ticket was up by 2.5x. So normally our average ticket over the last 6 months had been around $550, and our average ticket in the month of April was almost $1,300. So you can see what a huge growth there is, and that again represents the fact that customers are wanting to only drop off their car once. They want to take care of everything that they need. Very safety conscious right now, and that shows you how, even though you might have a reduced car count, there's an increased opportunity for revenue. So we were able to do over 50% of what we normally do in revenue, even though we had 25% of the cars. Now in May, obviously it's a different story. We're gonna open up the throttle a little. Interested to hear other people's comments and questions about that. But I really see a lot of opportunity in terms of increased revenue and emphasis on taking care of your cars. Furthermore, if you look out into the summer, we think about when things are going to reopen, people obviously want to get the heck out of their houses and they're going to be excited to travel, but they're not going to do that on planes. So again, being able to emphasize those safety road trip services, stuff that gets them out in the open, but in a safe way, is going to be really, really key. And then obviously the call to action, do the things that you need to do now to be prepared for this. This is something that's not going to be going on for the next 4 to 6 weeks. This is going to be something that we're going to be dealing with for probably the remainder of the year, if not beyond. And so having your shop in order, both in terms of internal efficiencies, but also how you're communicating to that customer, how you're able to showcase your sophistication and being able to provide solutions through a time when there's a lot of disruption is really, really critical for your business. So I think that takes us through about 30 minutes. Fast-paced webinar. Hope it was valuable for you. I'll ask our moderators if you guys have any questions you want to throw at me.
Yeah, we have a couple questions, and we also have Jesse standing by from 360 Payments as well.
Hey, Jesse.
To help us out. He's not able to speak because I forgot to give him the ability to speak this morning, but he is standing by to answer via chat. So I'll go ahead and ask the question. Are there any plans to make a partial so they can split payments to 2 different cards?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. So right now you can capture 2 different payments by closing the job with whatever payment you want to take, getting that money through remote pay, and then reopening the job, making whatever additions, and then closing the job and getting the balance. So in all cases, remote pay will go for the balance. That can be challenging if you're syncing your invoices upon close. If you're syncing them upon pickup, then that's not a problem. But for folks that are syncing upon close, you need to keep track of that and know that you may need to update that invoice in QuickBooks since it's closed again. In our case, we're doing quite a few catalytic converter thefts. And so the insurance pays for some and the customer pays the rest. So we're making the difference as a discount against parts and labor, taking what we want to take from the insurance company, then removing those discounts and taking the payment again. But absolutely, there's a clear optimization there that we'll be working on.
Okay. And everyone down below, a little chat bubble that says Q&A on it. So if you wanted to ask a question, that's where that's located. There was another question though about 360 payments. And it's around notification of payments. So is there any plans to have an email notification when a payment is made?
Good question. So we will be updating the closed jobs page. So when repair orders become invoices, but they're not yet picked up, they go to the page on the application that's closed jobs. And in that closed jobs page, invoices that are paid will be colored green. So you will be able to tell which invoices have outstanding balances and which do not. And as a result, then when the customer is picking up the car, you don't even have to check your inbox for an email. You'll just see whether or not it's paid on that screen at the time that you would normally be checking them out. Likewise, you can check that screen without having to go to your email and you can say, okay, great, I sent all these out and now they're all paid. So, you know, what to do. So that's going to be the initial workflow for improvements. In terms of additional notifications to know that someone paid, certainly we can work on that.
Great. That was all of the questions. A bunch of thank yous, by the way, Carolyn. So, oh, here's another one. So will the credit card payments made by customers print on the batch when we close?
Print on the batch. What do you mean by print on the batch? Certainly Shop-Ware's reporting includes all of the details that are remote pay, in addition to what may be, you know, card present or check or what have you. So that's just part of our natural reporting, as well as, you know, which repair order it was on and so on and so forth. So you can get at all of that. What's on the 360 side, I'm not exactly sure in terms of their batch reporting.
So she says on our credit card machine.
Mm-hmm. So it's not through the transaction, through the terminal. It is through a separate gateway. So the amount of the transactions, you would have to ask 360 how you get at that information to your own portal. But I think that that's through a 360 service. And Jesse, you can pop in and confirm that if you want.
I think Jesse just made a comment in the the participant side saying the batch report is included in your end of the day report in Shop-Ware. We have online reporting that you can view as well.
So you would use Shop-Ware for your totaling through remote pay. And then if you wanted to go to 360 after the batch is closed, you can see the results of remote pay that way. But you don't have to settle the batch through your terminal, through a separate gateway.
Thank you. And for the person that asked that question, I have a note. I'm going to have support reach out to you with a little bit more detail on how you can get the answers that you're looking for.
Yeah, and then and real quick, he also added all batches auto settle.
Okay, guys.
There's one more question. Can you speak about the integration with Bosch scan tool in Shop-Ware?
Absolutely. So we're very excited about that integration. And Bosch has been super excited about it and wanting to promote it recently, which has been awesome. It's generated a lot of excitement. So how that works is when you do a complete scan, like a health check for a vehicle, whether it's pre-repairs or post-scan, that health check will post to your Shop-Ware repair order automatically as your health check results. So there's some information about that we can share with you if you want to throw your email in. We can send you some marketing material that shows you how that looks. But essentially it lets the scan tool talk to the repair order automatically. All you have to do is run the scan and it will just auto-populate in real time on the repair order. That allows you to very quickly do a pre and post scan too. So if you want to do pre-repairs and when the repairs are done, you can compare those two. It allows you to present that value of the scan tool that you're using directly to the customer. So it's not just a let me tell you what the scan tool said. You can actually see what the scan tool said, which is very slick.
Okay, we have a couple more questions, a lot of questions coming in right now. Are there any upgrades to what we have already? Oh, did that go away, Margot?
Yeah, sorry, I just answered him privately. If you have questions about whether or not your specific equipment will be able to function with remote pay, definitely reach out to support@shop-ware.com and they can get those questions answered for you, as can your representative from 360 Payments.
Sure. Just to clarify, the remote pay is, you don't need any hardware in your shop to run remote pay. So it's facilitated entirely through 360 Payments, and you will enable it in Shop-Ware by entering some credentials in your settings, which 360 will walk you through, very simple. And then it will just be enabled, it will just be on. So all of the transaction interface is handled essentially through your customer visiting a browser on their own device, whether it's a PC, whether it's their phone, no hardware on your end whatsoever, and you just get the money. Any other questions before we bid adieu? Everyone's
there's
good?
a couple more if you're open to taking them.
Yeah, let's do it.
Will remote pay mark declined to the client right away if they put in an invalid credit card?
They will get an error. It will not process. So they will get a notification that they need to check their card number or contact the shop. So it actually says contact your advisor with some details.
Perfect. And then the last question here is, do we have an ETA on Bosch CFNA card working with Payment 360?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm going to let 360 answer those questions for you. I highly recommend you reach out to them and chat. The current Bosch CFNA integration means that you're going to run a separate terminal at the counter. And if you want to take those details, over the phone in order to not have to process the card firsthand, I believe you can do that. Again, to keep it contactless. But basically, you're running a terminal that you can run the cards on, independent of what hardware you may be maintaining for 360. Shop-Ware allows you to, turn on 360 payments and enable remote pay regardless of what additional card present terminals you may be using. So if you're using CFNA for card present transactions, you're still able to use 360 payments for remote pay if you wish. So very flexible in terms of your merchant providers. Okay, guys. In closing, I want to say thank you very much for coming. Anyone who's interested in learning more about us and signing up for a demo, you can go to getshopware.com. I'm thinking about you all very much. I hope that folks are getting value out of this webinar. Certainly, we would love to hear your feedback. So if there's more that you want to see or hear, anything you want to tell us about how to do this better, don't be shy. Don't hesitate to let us know. And we look forward to the next one of these coming soon. Stay safe, everybody.
And I just want to add that I linked Jesse's email in the participants panel if anyone wants to reach out to him directly with questions.
Terrific.
And
Thanks,
for those
Roxanne.
of you who are celebrating today, happy Cinco de Mayo.
Can't believe you saved that to the very end, Monique. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.